Join Master of Menace Mark Maloney and the OG guy being Dude Aidan Maloney as they explore movies, music, food, and nightlife on The Mark Mo Show. With segments like You Just Made the List, Carpe DM, and The 15, each episode is loaded with shenanigans, tomfoolery, and chaos. We hope you enjoy the show.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Season 1, Episode 5 of The Mark Mo Show. My name is Mark Maloney. Hi. I'm your host, along with AK219's very own Aidan Maloney. Aidan, how are you?
Beautiful. It's beautiful outside. Beautiful outlook for the weekend.
Fake spring number one.
Fake spring number one, that's right. I'm hoping it leads smoothly into real spring. Because usually when it's fake spring, we usually get hit with like negative temperatures a couple days down the road.
Or like half a foot of snow.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm hoping to avoid that because this fake spring has really gotten my hopes up. Feeling the sunshine on my skin is just, there's nothing like it, you know?
Well, yeah, and you do a lot of work outdoors, so that must have been pleasant today.
It's very pleasant. Very remarkably pleasant. And it's a good day for a weekend. Every day's a good day for a weekend, so I'm very excited. And especially because it's episode 5, and 5 is a nice round number, it's half of a nice round number.
It is half of a nice round number.
Which is very exciting.
And it's one more than 4, so
that's
it's
very
got
true.
that going for it.
Exactly. We level up every episode, and it seems like your vocal cords level down every episode.
For those of you not in the know...
Sorry to call you out.
No, that's okay. And it's a little bit of foreshadowing because I haven't talked about my radio show yet. But I produce a radio show locally here in the Midwest, and it's called After Hours. It's got a lot of Celtic punk and alt music and things like that.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. I've had an AI DJ that I created to do my shows the last 3 weeks.
Little text-to-speech kind of vibe.
Yes, yep.
Very good.
And she's done a great job. She might be hired full-time. We're going to have to see how this goes. But my okay, I guess it's best to start this way. Some respiratory thing was going around the area, and I picked it up. I got it. And that was a few days or whatever, but instead of it getting better, it kind of got worse. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? Well, it turned into full-blown bronchitis. And you can't do anything for that. You have to let bronchitis run its course, and that's usually 7 to 10 days. So that ran its course. I had, like, more mucus than anything that has mucus on this planet. There's that one weird sea urchin thing that's, like, full of mucus. I'm sure if you Google it, you can figure it out.
The only thing coming to mind is the blobfish, but that literally just looks like mucus incarnate.
It really does.
In a way?
It really does.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. And so I was the globfish for about 10 days. So that starts clearing up, and I'm like, oh, thank God, we're at the tail end of this thing. And all of a sudden, my throat just, starts killing me. And I'm like, okay, that sucks. And I think sore throat, what's next? But nothing's next. Is sore throat day 2, sore throat day 3. And I'm like, what the hell? And it's kind of weird because most sore throats are up kind of closer to the mouth.
Right.
And it gets kind of red. Mine is down below the Adam's apple. Sorry for all these technical terms.
Right.
But it's kind of down there. And if I gently press on it, it hurts like hell. So I'm like, oh, okay. That's kind of where the vocal cords are. So I'm sure I've messed that up.
Yeah.
So.
If we have any WebMD armchair doctors out there that want to scare us a little bit, let us know what's going on.
If I have some debilitating disease, I'm going to die tomorrow, let me know. That would really that would be some important information, most definitely. But at any rate, we produce new content weekly on all podcast platforms and YouTube, and we also have some one-off interviews coming your way. We just did one with YMCA. You can catch that on the podcast and podcast platforms and YouTube as well. It was a really great interview, so check it out. It's on heart health and all kinds of other good stuff. And if you like the Mark Mo Show, check out After Hours, something we just talked about. You can catch that on the stream at WVLP.org or the TuneIn app on your handheld device. and it is Celtic punk and alt rock and all that. And if you're local, you can catch it Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Central and Friday at 4 p.m. Central. And even if you're not local, that's when you can catch it on the stream or the TuneIn app.
Very true.
As well.
Time is relative.
Time is relative, and they told me there'd be no math,
Right.
And nor would we be trying to figure out times and time zones and
Yeah.
work with my vocal cords here, folks.
This reminds me, there was, back when we had quiz time on AK219, and one of Kevin's questions to me was, how many time zones are there on the globe? And I just looked at him and I was like, 24.
Right.
He was like, oh, how'd you get that so fast? I'm like,
Oh no,
Kevin, how many hours are there in a day, buddy? And he was like, oh my gosh, that makes a lot of sense. I'm like, yeah, yes sir, it does.
Speaking of that, catch out our guy Kevin and Aiden
lovely
at
man.
Guys Being Dudes AK219. Good stuff there. Now, we're going to get into something, a little dangerous territory. Just a little bit. You know, some danger. Almost like flying is... Okay, that's a little foreshadowing there. We're largely in a apolitical zone. We usually don't jump into this arena one way or the other because we just like to have fun. But if we can have fun at their expense, why the hell not?
That's true. Poking and prodding does not, it's a different plane.
It is.
Speaking of planes.
Speaking of planes, I love it. We're killing it. We like to laugh and have fun and steer clear of things like this, but shit's getting crazy, folks. And I mean, look, Canadians are booing the U.S. national anthem at hockey games. Canadians. What kind of rat bastards are we turning into? The Canadians are booing us.
It's devastating.
It's devastating. I mean, they're not booing me. I haven't changed.
That's true. That's true.
They're not booing you. They're
right. They're
booing another asshole.
Right.
And his friends, a group of assholes.
Right.
that are causing
really
havoc.
Powerful group.
Sadly. Sad but true. So, speaking of those assholes, the new administration here in America is in the first 100 days, and so far it's gone as awfully as you think it could. We have a bunch of unqualified schmucks leading America's most important agencies. Speaking of schmucks, Elon Schmuck, Gestapo boys are traipsing through the Social Security Administration and other agencies to discover gross overspending and corruption. Dead people are receiving benefits. Nope. $8 billion oversight? No, it was $8 million.
Right. Interesting.
They've had cuts at the CDC, the FDA. I think it was today I heard NOAA and the weather agencies.
Yep.
They cut there as well. Now we got viruses and diseases on the rise, including avian flu, which is affecting egg production, causing an increase in, guess what? Prices at the grocery store. How about that?
Curious.
And on top of all that, he's shredding independent oversight, education, and the FAA. So, since taking over and removing hundreds of employees at the FAA, air fatalities have more than doubled. We have helicopters colliding with airliners on approach, small planes colliding with other planes on the ground. NTSB officials maintain that air travel is vastly safer than traveling by automobile. Well, yeah. I mean, people fly twice a year, maybe.
Right.
And you drive every day.
Right.
It's numbers. It's a numbers game, folks.
That's true.
It is a numbers game. Anyway, consumer confidence in the airline safety has dipped from 71 to 64%. And I took that from about 3 or 4 days ago, so it might even be worse now. Most recently, Midway Airport, a Southwest airliner was on approach and about to land, and a small private jet right across.
I saw that video.
Right across, and the dude saw it, and at last second, whoosh,
pulled up
hard.
Yeah.
And was able to avoid it. But when you start making a lot of cuts and there's firings and all these other things are uncertain and things that this shit happens.
Yeah.
So I would be very interested to hear your take on just shit that's going on.
It's super disturbing. You covered heavy the FAA, the airlines, the issues with that, and that's just disturbing, right? Because in the U.S. we don't have things like good public transit.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that. We don't have trains that cross country, bullet trains.
Nope.
And we've got the Amtrak, but that's pretty dog-ass.
Ancient.
Yeah. So the only way to travel in the U.S., reasonably speaking, is by car or by plane.
Yep.
And internationally, it's mostly by plane.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively. So for that to take such a hard hit is really alarming for those who maybe have the means and willingness to, per se, move the fuck out.
Right, yeah.
Go somewhere else, and
Yeah,
all of a
for
sudden, well, hey, seems like fatalities have doubled. Well, that's not very inspiring of confidence for me to hop on an airplane.
That's not good.
So that's alarming. The fact that President Musk has now turned around and started tweeting, oh, hey, we're pretty short on air traffic controllers, guys. If you're retired and want back in the game, let us know. It's like, first of all, by law, air traffic controllers are required to retire in their mid-50s because of the high-pace, high-risk job. So you can't just rehire retired air traffic controllers. It was your dog shit that made them leave.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, that's not going to cut it.
Not at all.
And you mentioned I believe you mentioned Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And the Social Security Administration being meddled around in with these teenagers.
Yeah.
It's dystopian. Like, it's weird seeing from, down up all this craziness go on, because the most recent example of behavior like this is from the 1930s in Europe.
Yep.
And getting to see it firsthand is really, really alarming. Because what the hell am I going to do? Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I mean, I already don't participate in anything that could give these losers capital or value or increase their revenue streams at all. But, like, besides that, what do you do?
There's not a lot. And you can exercise your amendment rights as long as they're still there. Trump ignores them, so I guess we can too.
Yeah.
But you can go out and hoot and holler and carry a sign and do all that kind of stuff. And look, that's you can do that. That's your right. At the end of the day, I'm not sure it moves the needle a whole hell of a lot.
Right.
So by all means, do it if you want to do it. But that's not moving the needle. I'm not sure what does it.
No.
When you have almost 50%, and I have to be careful to say voters, not population.
Right.
Because there's a lot of disgruntled Americans that don't vote. And they may be dumber than the dumb people that do vote by not voting. You have to vote. I don't care. It's especially when it comes to someone that is a fascist and a theocrat, and you can't have someone like that running the show. Unfettered for the next 2 years. He's got Congress. He's got everything.
Right.
So you have to be careful and say, look, it's about 50% of the voters, the people that actually go out and vote.
Right.
If you paid attention, he actually had like 4 million fewer voters than he did the last time out.
Right.
And still won. So what happened to the 13 million voters that Joe got the last time that she didn't? I'm just saying that's kind of weird that all those people would be like, I just don't care.
Right.
I'm going to sit at home. It's just, I don't know. I have questions. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I have
I
questions.
agree.
It's just, it really just kind of floors me that all those people be like, nah, I'm especially when early reports were like, ooh, it's a strong showing. Early voting was strong.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, where all those numbers go?
Yeah. Was it due to the Russian bomb threats in blue-leaning areas? Was it due to Elon Musk's self-admitted knowing a lot about the voting machines?
That's right. Yeah.
You know? the biggest accusations are the biggest admissions for these people. So
for sure.
You spend 4 years claiming a rigged election, and then you go out and rig one.
Yeah.
Who's to say that's not a reality?
Yeah, it's a problem.
I'm just speculating.
That's all we're doing. We have no proof of anything, and we're not even. I mean, we're just kind of brainstorming here with you fine folks. It's just a shit show here, from top to bottom, and even though a lot of this is directly pointed at Clown Shoes, who's running the show right now, along with Musky Musk, the muskrat. There's a lot of blame to go around, and you have to go, look, it all starts with the election, and the other side just botched it. And so you can sit there and be like, oh, I can't believe in this and that and the other, and I'm like, look at your own party, man.
Right.
Look at your own party. They screwed the pooch. Joe should have stepped away 6 months earlier.
Yeah.
He should have stepped away 6 months earlier. He reminded me of Grandpa Simpson.
Right, yeah.
Yeepa, yeepa. It's like, what are you doing? And he's running for president again? Oh, my God. Yeah. Just crazy shit.
It's moronic. It's really moronic.
Yep.
I've had that inkling, too, since 2015, when the DNC fucked Bernie Sanders out of the primary.
Yep.
That's when I stopped. That's when I stopped being a fan of that party, because it's in your name. Democratic.
Yep.
You should be excited to see, tight primary races.
Right.
It means people are thrilled to be out there voting. That should be what you want.
Yes.
Ever since then, the excitement for getting out and voting, especially amongst young voters, it's nowhere.
Yep.
Nowhere to be found.
Yep. Yeah, they don't care. And as I said, when you're up against someone like Trump, you have to vote anyway. You just have to do it. You can be mad, you can be angry at things that happen, but you can't let him happen. You can't let him happen. If the other candidate is a golden retriever, woof. I am voting for that fucking dog. You can't let that fascist son of a bitch in there. You can't do it. And it's a real problem. And look, America's always been about diversity. Even though they don't like that word, that's America. Sorry. I mean, that's what it was founded on. So, well, not entirely, but
yeah. It's supposed to be the
we've
melting
moved that
pot,
way.
though.
But it's supposed to be the melting pot, and it's supposed to be, look, you can be left of center, you can be center, you can be right of center. People are conservative, and they have certain views on how business should be done, and then people on the left, and how government should help the people, and things like. And nobody's wrong. Just in the past, they always just found a way to work together to do shit, and that always kind of worked. And I always talk about a divide, right? So take Congress, for example. The aisle, as I call it, between the two parties has never been wider. Like back in the day, you'd find Reagan or Bush or Clinton or any of them having lunch and dinners with a lot of guys from the other parties. Like, well, we got to get this through. What is it going to take?
Right.
And maybe it's a little pork, a little fat, whatever. Hey, I need that bridge. Okay, but that's just how government's done. And it always seemed to work until recently. And now it's not so much, hey, let's work together. It's, hey, you're the other guys, so fuck off. Sit there and watch us do shit. That's not what this country is.
Right. Not supposed to be.
No. So it's a real problem. It's a real problem, and I don't know what the solution is.
I've always thought the solution is more than two parties.
Yes, that would help.
More than two, large parties. Because sure, you can argue, oh, you've got the Libertarians and Green Party. No, we really don't.
There's like 8 people.
We really don't.
It's not strong.
There needs to be more than two parties. Election or voting day needs to be a national holiday.
National holiday. Everybody should be home to vote.
Everybody should be home to vote.
Yep.
And ranked choice voting. First past the post always devolves into a two-party system. It needs to be ranked choice voting. Mm-hmm. So if you agree with one politician slightly more than another, you hate this person the most, you can convey that accurately.
Yeah.
And your vote will be tallied as such. Where first past the post never allows that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's step 1, 2, and 3 in my personal opinion.
Those are
also term limits. Jesus Christ. There's no reason people should be running the country past the retirement age.
No. And hey, once again, we're not ageist here. I'm sure we've got people well into their 70s or 80s that listen to the show. And if we do, thank you. But in the same sense, I took care of a father in his 80s and a mother in her 80s. And Jesus Christ, I wouldn't want them. They couldn't run their household.
Right.
They sure as shit aren't going to run a district or be a senator. But we've got these individuals that have been doing this shit for 30, 40, 50 years. It's time to step aside.
Right.
It's time to step aside. So term limits are good. I think, as it pertains to the House of Representatives, I think 4 consecutive terms would be good. That's 8 years.
Right.
And I think for senators 2, which would be 12.
Right.
I think that's good enough. And then it gives you an opportunity to get different voice in there, different thoughts, and that sort of stuff. And I think that's important in terms of, once again, in terms of democracy. But, you just get these people, and they're wealthy, and, hey, I'm running, and then they sit on these seats for 40 years.
Right.
But that's not good. I mean,
right.
we need more Gen Zers and millennials and Gen Xers in politics, because it's still, once again, no offense, boomers, loaded with boomers.
Right.
And time has passed you by in terms of how this world works.
And another alarming fact I'll kind of end my thought train on is the fact that in these elections, it's somewhere between 8 in 10 and 9 in 10 of the winning politicians have a larger budget from corporate donors in their election fund.
Yeah.
So the ones that get paid off the most from big corpo and billionaires, 8 to 9 out of 10 times are the winners.
Yeah.
That is remarkably alarming. Because who are they going to represent? You?
Nope.
Or the big corporation that paid him $10 million?
That's who.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. But at any rate, thank you for your thoughts on that, Aiden. And,
certainly.
And after this quick break, Carpe Diem on the Mark Moe Show. Hey, we're back, everybody. And we are now into Carpe Diem. That is, you find folks out there in the world sending us your DMs. You can find us all over the socials, AK219, Mark Moe Show After Hours. Hit us up with your DMs, and we will read them on air. No matter how saucy they are, we would prefer that, obviously.
Why ever not?
And we'll answer your questions.
We're not legally obligated to.
That's true. That's a good point.
But we do enjoy answering them.
Mm-hmm. Indeed we do. Aiden, what do you got?
I got a DM here from our boy, Gumbo Slime. It seems like Gumbo has a new last name every week.
Every week.
Either that or there are several more Gumbos.
A lot of Gumbos out there.
Than I previously
from the
figured.
Gumbo clan.
Yes. Yeah, so like Gumbo maybe is the last name, and I'm just reading them backwards.
Yeah, that's likely.
Could whoops. Okay, so Slime Gumbo asks, if you were a hitman, hypothetically, what's your price?
The price to take a life.
I mean, morally, that's heavy, right?
Sure.
Killing somebody. Logically, I guess it depends on, like, is it a difficult target? Like, are we talking like a politician?
Celebrity?
A celebrity? Or are we talking like Randy? a couple blocks down the way.
Right.
Because then you're talking about getaway plans. You're talking about maybe moving country. If like, you make the FBI's most wanted. If you're at that kind of risk, maybe 7 or 8 figures. And then also the weight of knowing you killed somebody is really heavy to have to live with.
Oh, it is.
So, yeah, maybe 8 figures for me.
Okay. I would think someone like a celebrity, politician, all of that. Yeah, that's about right. You're looking at probably upper 7 figures.
Yeah.
At least, because I'm going to have to go away for a while.
Right.
So I have to have enough to be comfortable for maybe many years.
Right.
So that's what that would be.
Makes the Cayman Islands your new home.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
That's right. And, if it's a rando, I don't know, 50 grand?
50 grand?
Maybe a hundo?
Yeah, I'm thinking a hundo, maybe 2 hundo.
Yep.
Because, granted, you're not going to have the same police or federal response.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still going to need therapy because you killed somebody.
Probably.
Ideally.
Probably.
So.
Well, here's something to consider. What if you do it? Guy gives you money. You're like, okay, going to do this. You go and you do it. And let's say this rando lives by himself. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't have a family, whatever. It's just a local scumbag, whatever.
Right.
And you snuff him out. Done. Get away scot-free. And let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
You find out you like it.
You find
out you like it.
Just thinking
like
that
you get such a rush
right.
And you got away with it. You got to be like, I got to do that again.
Yeah. You accidentally become a good hitman.
Yeah, what if that happens? Now you're like, I think this might be a career path for me.
Right. Serial killer for hire. Ooh.
It could be.
It's got to be lucrative.
It's a tough thing to write on the resume.
Right. Yeah. The business cards are going to be alarming.
Yes, I'm a mechanic.
Yeah.
I fix problems.
I
eliminate the competition.
Right. It's lucrative, but every subsequent hit brings you closer to justice. You'd imagine.
You would think so.
Unless you're the world's best criminal, but...
And that's possible.
It is possible.
Trump's a dumbass. He's been getting away with it for 40 years.
That's true. So maybe once you accumulate enough money to where the laws no longer apply to you, as we know they don't.
Right. Then it's nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Exactly.
Let me donate to your kid's school play.
Yeah.
Oh, is that $100,000? Oh, how'd that get there?
So yeah, count me in.
Count me in. Call me Tony Soprano. I'm down.
A gentleman named Meat Man asks, "What's your favorite meat, man?"
Ooh.
I don't know if I really want Meat Man's meat, but I am a meat.
Well,
hear me out.
Hear me out.
I am something of a meat man, as in I enjoy meat, man.
I do too. I am not a vegetarian. I like vegetables, but they are.
They have
their
place,
side,
and they're next to the meat on the plate.
Correct.
I enjoy. I know, posh. I enjoy a filet mignon, kind of mid-rare, really nice. But that's one of those things you eat like once or twice a year, maybe.
I was about to say that's kind of bougie for you, dude. Yeah, that's bougie for you.
That's like a once or twice a year kind of
no
thing.
No doubt.
You splurge on. If we're talking regular, I think a homemade burger. A homemade burger is right up my alley. Fresh off the grill, a couple slices of cheese on there. Build your own burger kind of station.
Yep.
I love a good burger. That's a good meat.
I do too.
Yeah. And then like roasted chicken. Roasted chicken is so easy to make. You just need chicken and an oven. And spices.
And some spices. That's it.
Don't
overcook it.
Right. Yeah, burgers and roasted chicken.
All right, that's good. Yeah, I'm a steak guy all the way. I don't care about the cut. I guess talk about bougie. The tomahawk steaks.
Big tomahawk guy.
Huge fan. Absolutely huge fan. I had it at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And I ate it, and I was like, oh my God. I've missed out on this my entire life. Can I get 3 more? It was great. So
we put the steak on the poutine in Christmas.
I did do that.
That was nuts.
Those are just some small fillets that I happen to have, and I'm like, I'll put them on the grill because it was like it was kind of a warm-ish day.
Yeah.
And I grilled those up, seasoned them perfectly, put it on poutine. For most of you folks that know, if you're French and or Canadian or French Canadian, you obviously know what poutine is. Fries, cheese curds, gravy.
Beautiful.
And you can add various accoutrements.
Absolutely.
To the, it was poutine. I had to kind of French that shit up. I had to Frenchify it.
Yeah.
You can add things to it, and it's really good. So I added the steak to the poutine, and it was very good. I went to, we did Christmas here. It was like, holy shit, that's great, awesome. And then had an extra pan, went to a friend's house. He's like, hey, you want to come over? Yep. And he's a chef, so I'm like, oh man, there's gonna be some good eats here.
There's gonna be some talk about this.
And so I kind of put it out there, but there were so many other good things to eat. Nobody really touched the poutine until later in the evening, and the kids dug into it, and they're like, oh my God, like what the hell is this? This is amazing. And then I didn't want to show up the chef, but I was kind of like, yeah, that's my poutine. And then this one guy's wife, I saw her like a week later. She's like, oh my God, I took that to work for lunch. It was so good. I'm like, awesome. I'm glad you liked it. So, so poutine, man.
Yes, absolutely.
Got all of it. But yeah, steak, and then fried chicken. I haven't fried chicken in a while.
Yeah.
But I used to love to do it, especially when you guys were kids. We used to...
like pan fry?
We used to pan fry. And sometimes it would be just the dredge, right? You'd have your egg in your flour, and then season the flour different ways.
Sure.
But also seasoning the meat. A lot of people forget that in that step. That's an important thing to do, is you really got to season the meat, dredge, flour, pan. And that turns out to be good. But then sometimes you could do different things with it too. You can, especially say you have like a half open bag of chips. And then maybe the shelf life on that is like really shrinking.
Yeah.
Crunch them up, throw them in the flour.
True. Right.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
It's almost like a panko.
And I've done that with Cheez-Its before.
Smart.
You can smash those up so it's like a cheesy powder. Add that to the flour. Awesome stuff.
Genius maneuvers.
Yep. So steak and fried chicken are like my 2 top things that I cook, but also are very good. And not to toot my own horn, a Rudy toot. But I make a pretty damn good turkey on Thanksgiving.
Oh, true. Very true. Then the leftovers, making the turkey sandwich with the gravy and potatoes.
Oh, dude.
And
you mix it all together like a bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Like KFC used to use the bowl, but you just do it with the Thanksgiving shit.
Yep.
And the stuffing and the oh, God.
It's nuts.
I want it now.
Yeah, I know, right? It's weird we only eat that food once a year.
It's so awesome, and it's just once a year. That's it. Crazy Americans.
The final question I received today from an old friend, Crippy Grew.
Crap.
You're on a 10-hour road trip. You get 3 artists to listen to. Who you got?
3 artists to listen to.
3 artists.
Okay. I'm gonna be all over the board here. I'm gonna go Kendrick Lamar, Iron Maiden.
Nice.
Billy Joel.
That's solid. A bit of each genre.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of each genre. I like that. Believe it or not, I too was going to go Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
His discography is immense and phenomenal. So that's going to fill up a lot of that 10 hours. Another one that comes to mind would be like maybe Rage or Green Day.
Sure.
Could fit in there. Who else? Could go like Highly Suspect or Arctic Monkeys. Glass Animals too. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, let's go Kendrick Lamar, Glass Animals, Green Day.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'll sit in that car.
Too. Yeah.
I'll definitely sit in that car.
It's going to be an entertaining 10 hours.
I love that. That's amazing. All right, and once again, folks, for the vocal cords, we're struggling. We're on the struggle bus, but we're going to make it. We're going to make it through. My DMs, I have at selling my schnitzel.
Ah, businessman.
A businessman. So prices of everything are going up again. I am thinking of selling my schnitzel for groceries.
Get in line.
Any ideas of how I can earn some extra dough?
Well, I think your idea is great. I would say run with it.
Yeah, especially if you have a considerable schnitzel.
That's true, and clientele that
Yes.
have considerable money. So that's a good idea. I would say common theft, robbery, shoplifting
Sure.
are all ideas.
A little beanie, and I'm not talking about bacon and eggs, although
Right.
bacon and eggs are fantastic.
Yeah, I think crime.
Crime.
Crime would be allegedly in this in this hypothetical situation. Crime would be the route I would recommend.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is a fair comment.
and the schnitzel too. The schnitzel.
And the
too.
schnitzel.
Yeah,
Why not?
which I guess is a crime in some places, right?
I always found it very interesting for people in the sex industry. And I'm not talking about OF and stuff like that, because everybody does that. By the way, my OF... No, we're not going there. But if you want to go... No.
A real entrepreneur.
Real entrepreneur here. I'm talking about just kind of your standard sex trade, kind of stuff. I always found it just interesting that it's illegal to sell something that's perfectly legal to give away for free.
Right, and it's illegal to sell, but if you are recording it
Uh-huh.
to publish it, and instead of calling them prostitutes, you call them actors,
Sure.
then it becomes legal.
That becomes legal. Yeah.
Just by adding a camera and a different title,
Right.
it becomes legal.
Or if you want to do it this way, helping you guys out here,
An idea.
charge a consulting fee. I'm consulting this individual on banking regulations. I'm
Certainly.
consulting this individual on the best car to buy this year. Whatever shit you want to throw out there, a consulting fee. And then you have sex for free.
Right. I mean, sometimes business people do that, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
That's
Just
the
ideas.
It's the workaround.
Yeah.
It's a workaround.
Or it could just be
Consult
legal.
your attorney.
Right, yeah. Alternatively, it could be legalized and regulated, but who am I to say that?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Crazy idea.
Yeah, just imagine all the Europeans listening and they're like, it's illegal?
Right.
What?
What the hell?
What the hell? Yeah, it's a weird country. You guys know that already.
Yeah, that's true.
At Bats and Balls,
Okay.
spring training has started in baseball. Who are some teams to watch this season?
Well, if you want to have fun, you could watch the Cubs because they're exciting.
If you're a sadist, you watch the White Sox.
Exactly. Masochist, even.
A masochist, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends if you're a Sox fan.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a Sox fan, then watching them would be sadism.
Yes, it would be. Well, that's the room. That's the
true.
room we're
That's-
in right
that's
now.
true. Yeah.
That is the room.
So if you want to have fun, watch the Cubs. If you want to see a team that wins a lot, I guess you watch the Dodgers because they just always win.
Right.
I
Avoid
would
the
say-
Yankees and Cardinals because they suck.
That's true.
We
That's
hate them.
true.
Sorry, New York and St. Louis people. But,
And
you know.
they don't deserve it.
No.
I would say some teams to watch this season are any that you can afford to go to the stadium. Because
Ooh.
watching baseball at the stadium is way better than on TV.
I agree.
Nothing like a stadium hot dog that costs $15.
Oh, man. Well, once again, pro tips. You find out, like, certain days where the tickets are cheap, and you go on those days. Number
Right.
one. Number two, go to a hot dog stand outside the ballpark.
True. Very true.
Shove that crap in your pocket, walk into the
Right.
stadium, and have a hot dog that you paid
Right.
$3 for,
Right.
as opposed to having to pay $10 for it.
Cargo shorts. Genius maneuver. So many pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So many things to bring in.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then there are some places that will frisk you, or you have to put certain things on, like a electronic, like whatever.
Like scan it, yeah.
If you can bring a flask in, I say bring a flask. Forget the $10 to $12 cups of beer.
Right, exactly.
Get a soda, and then put your flask in there and have like a rum and coke.
Genius.
They're
Genius.
workarounds, baby.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
And there are flasks that aren't metal.
Correct.
They're not going to set off a detector.
Nope.
I mean, if a woman in the White Sox stadium can bring a gat in her fat rolls, then we can...
And have it go off.
Right. And have
in the
it go
stadium.
off, that's right. And then we can sneak a little flask it.
Yeah.
It's an idea.
Yeah. Sadly, that was the most exciting thing that happened at that stadium.
That's so true. Yeah.
It's a gun going off. That's great. That's awesome.
The gun going off in the fat roll, and then the campfire shakes, which was the only alluring thing.
That's it. Campfire, like I saw a picture of that. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. The food's never been a thing. Or never been a problem for that. And like they have super wide courses, so you're never on top of anyone, even though there's like only 1,000 people that go.
Right.
But even if there were a lot of people, it's easy to navigate. But outside the park, you go home.
Yeah.
There's really not a neighborhood.
No.
Not much stuff to do.
Unless you go to Rico's afterwards.
Rico Bene's 26th Street in Chicago. That's the spot.
Not sponsored, but we wish.
We wish. We definitely wish, for sure. At Liam McGunkle IV.
Oh, there's a lot of McGunkles, huh?
There, apparently so. Hello, chaps. I visited the United States recently. I asked for tea and biscuits at a restaurant, and the tea had ice in it, and the biscuits were these big, fluffy, buttery things. What gives?
Well, you see...
We do things a little differently around here.
Yeah, a biscuit is something you put savory, beautiful white pepper gravy on.
Yes.
And enjoy for breakfast. It's not something you have with tea.
Mm-hmm.
We do coffee here.
Right.
Not to say I don't enjoy tea, but usually that's not a breakfast thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Fucking Brits. These people.
These people.
You come into my country and insult my biscuits.
You get my biscuits right. Oh my God. Yeah, the biscuits we have here. Look, go to Popeye's Chicken. Get yourself a box of biscuits.
Do yourself a favor.
And a stick of butter. And go to town and have a heart attack. And it'll be worth it.
And you'd have earned it.
You'll definitely have earned it.
Yeah. You're welcome to... I mean, don't get the heart attack here, because you'll go bankrupt trying to...
Yeah, make sure you get that at home.
Yeah, you'll go bankrupt getting treated for it, because that's America. But...
You'll have to sell your schnitzel to save your heart.
Of course.
That's what we do here. We have at... Should we check on Drake? Did I hear some new album dropped? I am hearing he has waved the white flag in his beef with Kendrick. Is this over, or will Kendrick continue to beat him down like a dog?
Ooh, well, I don't know much about this new album thing, but I figure the white flag was waved the second Not Like Us dropped.
That's fair.
And then he whipped out some lawsuits, which just makes him look like a giant pussy.
It really does.
But yeah, I don't know much about the new album thing, and I'm happier for it, honestly. But yeah, I think Kendrick is done with the beatdown also.
Yeah,
you know.
When you get the dub, when you do what you did on the Super Bowl in front of millions and millions of people, and the entire crowd screams A minor,
right?
You won.
Yeah.
And then at the illumination at the end says game over. It's like, yep.
It is.
That is game over.
That is game over. You've done it.
Take your victory lap.
We never had any doubts, but that is just the cherry on top of the sundae we already knew was there.
Oh, it's fabulous. Just fabulous. The last one I got, at Squared Circle Girl 69. Nice.
Nice.
Which was better in their prime, the Four Horsemen or Evolution?
Ooh, now that's interesting.
That is interesting, isn't it?
That's interesting.
For those not in the know, this is a professional wrestling question.
The Squared Circle.
The Squared Circle should have been the hint. Yep.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards Evolution just because that's the group I kind of grew up with more, where I was not born in time to experience the Four Horsemen. But I can look back at that era through the power of technology.
Yes.
And I can lean towards the Four Horsemen. You know?
Slightly. A slight lean, because Evolution was dynamic, and Ric Flair was part of both of them. Mm. And the thing I like about the Horsemen especially early in the timeline, they were outlaws.
Right.
They were outlaws, and I mean, when they, and mind you, I don't know how much of this was scripted, but they got into their vehicles and followed dusty roads around. And like they had a cameraman with them.
Right.
And there you could hear them just talking and just like throwing shade at him. Like the whole time they're giggling and whatever and they're watching him. And soon as he pulls into this parking lot of the offices of the NWA, they get out of the car, they jump dusty roads in the parking lot. Like literally you're watching a crime, beating the hell out of him, duct taping his arm to the side of the truck, and then swinging a baseball bat at his arm, thus breaking his wrist.
Jesus.
I mean, that right there
So
says you can have your Evolution and your NWO. I will take this version of the Four Horsemen all day.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to top
Absolute
that.
criminals.
Right.
Degenerates. Menace. They were a menace to society.
Menacery.
Yeah, the Minister of Ministry says bravo
Yes.
to the Four Horsemen, for sure. But that concludes my DMs. If you ever have DMs, ladies and gentlemen, you can send them to me, the Mark Mo Show, Mark Maloney, AK219, Aiden Maloney. Find us on the socials, shoot some DMs our way, and we're happy to read them on air.
Very true.
Absolutely. But before we go to our next break, I believe we have a little something called the Other Foods. That is where Aiden scours the globe for delectable, delightful, culinary, I'm losing words,
Yeah.
morsels of food. And actually, some of those words don't fit. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting
Yeah,
and
most of the
deplorable
time.
and just it's
Yeah.
just gross. So what did
The
you,
other foods.
The other foods.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I wanted to talk about Spam.
Here we
Today,
go. This is
I just-
Aiden's TED Talk, and we are talking today about Spam.
I cover a lot of foods from around the world. And this one, this is right here in the U.S. This is our other food.
Indeed
that
it is.
Maybe podcasters in Europe talk about.
Yep.
Spam is so weird and yucky.
That should be on the packaging.
Yeah, weird and yucky. Enjoy. But yeah, Spam, a form of canned, processed, shelf-stable lunch meat, primarily made of ground ham and pork.
No.
Yeah, that's a no for me. Invented in the 1930s. Nothing good happened in the 1930s, I'm hearing. It was a form factor to which sell the less profitable pork shoulder and name it Spam, short for spiced ham,
Okay.
which is interesting.
I would eat something called spiced ham.
Right, but not like this. It's like if bologna was a mutant, you know.
Right.
Gained popularity during World War II, of course. 100 million cans from the U.S. were shipped over the Pacific.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, good for them.
And they fed them to the Germans, thus causing them to lose
Right.
World War II.
Yeah. I wanted to cover some of the flavors they have. Because you can conceptualize.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they do flavored Spam. So they've got Spam Classic, of course, which
Yeah.
is the regular.
Which is the one that looks like the museum at the end of Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
When it gets
exactly.
covered in all that pink shit.
Yes.
Yep. It looks
precisely.
just like that.
Almost looks like a fish fillet. It's weird. It's so weird.
It is weird.
And then they have Spam Light, because if you thought eating processed lunch meat shelf stable out of a can was a little sus for you, you can get the light version, which is less fat, sodium, and calories, and probably flavor, which I'm guessing they just replaced with sugar. And then they have the less sodium version. They have a gochujang flavored Spam.
Oh no.
Now, I like me some gochujang sauce. But what the fuck are you doing putting it in Spam?
That seems like a waste.
It seems like a crime.
That's true.
They've got Korean barbecue flavored Spam.
Oh God, why?
Here's one for you Canadians. If you don't hate us enough already, they've got maple-flavored Spam, and the image displaying on the can itself is cooked Spam with maple syrup on it in between waffles, implying that it's somehow supposed to compete with chicken and waffles.
No way.
What a horrible idea. They've got Spam with real Hormel bacon in it. Now there's a thought. Oven-roasted turkey Spam, hickory smoke-flavored Spam, hot and spicy Spam, for when the Spam diarrhea also wants to be hot and spicy coming out, jalapeno Spam, teriyaki Spam, and Spam with tocino seasoning on it. Which, why?
It is a waste.
I want to let us know through the socials. If you're still here after hearing all that, do you eat Spam? Do you know anyone who eats Spam?
I do.
Oh,
I do. The Yamamura family.
Bless their souls.
I met Frances at Loyola, where I went to college, and her entire family. They own like a gazillion McDonald's, so yay for them.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. And they we were just talking shortly after meeting them. Like, we had this group of people, and we were like the Borg from Star Trek. We just assimilated people, and we were bigger than any other fraternity and sorority on campus. We were called the Campers. And so they were assimilated rather quickly. We might have reconsidered that once they said that Spam is kind of a delicacy in Hawaii.
No. Is
where
it
they're from.
really?
Yeah. People in Hawaii love Spam.
Wow, I never would have guessed.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Well, shout out Hawaiians. Let us know why.
Why?
What is it?
What are you doing?
What do you like about it?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Maybe they lack actual pigs out there, and it's just easier to get these cans of Spam.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And because they had all the military bases out there.
Oh, that makes sense.
And they eat that shit.
Yeah.
So that could be part of it as well.
Historically, that checks out, I suppose.
I suppose it does.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a thing that started in the 40s and kind of went on from there.
Kind of stuck. Interesting.
It's my guess.
Yeah.
So Spam.
Very educated guess. Yeah, Spam. Just want to talk about Spam.
Wow. Yeah. To this day, I don't think I've ever tried it. And I don't remember I don't hope to.
If I have, and if I have, my brain is blocking out the memory of it.
Yeah.
So I mustn't
As it should.
Mustn't have enjoyed it.
No. So do yourself a favor. Almost anything else but Spam.
Try all the flavors. Select them like Infinity Stones.
Oh, no.
Let us know if the gauntlet, instead of being on your hand, is going to be on the toilet.
Oh, it will be.
Once you try all the flavors.
You'll be there for a while, I'm guessing. No doubt. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, our feature segment, You Just Made the List. And we're back, and it is time for You Just Made the List, our feature segment. And You Just Made the List is exactly what it sounds like. Top 10 list, 10 through 2, with our big number 1 reveal. And let me see all the rules here. Oh, no, just one. There are no rules.
Clever how that works.
Isn't it?
I like that rule a lot.
I do too. The only rule is no rule.
No rules. Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Kevin stretched that one time.
Oh, did he?
A certain list, whereas honorable mentions essentially encapsulated every potential list item.
Yes. It literally was like the SpongeBob a few hours later, and he's still going. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, that was something.
But there are no rules, so I guess he didn't break any.
No, that is true. He didn't break a rule. But we almost broke him.
That's true.
About a week ago. We had the 50th anniversary of SNL. Some great skits. By the way, if you haven't checked out, they had a lot of old SNLers come back for this event. And some reprise some like old skits and stuff. Well, this is one Will Ferrell used to do, where they used to do popular songs. And it was like, he took the place of like more of like a churchy kind of singer. And I forget what the woman's name was. But the two of them were kind of like this husband and wife churchy team, and they would kind of just sing these songs in a certain way. So they take the stage for the 50th anniversary thing, and she starts going, or no, it started like this. Will Ferrell goes up to the microphone, he starts going, and he goes, I see dead people. And she starts going, doo 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 doo, and Will Ferrell's just spitting these lyrics out. And like some of them are right on, and some of them are just off the wall, and he's just trying to spit stuff out. And then they get to the A minor, A minor, A minor, and they're literally trying to hit A minor. It was hilarious. I was dying, awesome. And the crowd was cracking up. It was just so good. But it was a great bit and a good show. And we saw so many of these original cast members, and that kind of sparked this top 10 list. Who are your top 10, your favorite SNL characters of all time?
It's a great question.
Yeah, and it is definitely one where you could have an honorable mention, perhaps.
I have several.
Okay, that's good.
I didn't pull a Kevin, but I do have a lot.
Okay, that's good. I stuck to 10-ish, 10A and 10B, really.
That makes sense.
My number 10 was Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. I had to put them together because they were Wayne's World.
That makes sense.
So I had to do that together.
That makes a lot of sense.
But they had other good skits as well. Number 9, Norm Macdonald.
A G.
That dude is so funny. I mean, just his style was so unique. Just his comic approach. And some of his best stuff was off SNL, like especially on the Conan O'Brien show. I would just roll.
Yeah.
I would just die. Because, of course, Conan, when he has people on like that, he gives them rope.
Oh, yeah.
He gives them rope and lets them go, just like he does with Bill Burr and some other guys.
Easily the best on late night.
Oh, no doubt. That could be a future top 10.
Yeah, I know, right?
Listen in. So we had Norman Macdonald. Number 8, Gilda Radner. Gilda, original cast. She was so funny. Number 7, the G, Bill Murray.
The homie.
Number 6, Adam Sandler. Number 5, Dan Aykroyd.
Good. Very good.
Number 4, Steve Martin. Number 3, Chris Farley. And number 2, Eddie Murphy.
That's solid.
And I know I left people out. People are going to be like, are you an idiot? There's no John Belushi. Well, first of all, I didn't give you my number 1.
Oh, that's true.
Second of all, no. I mean, Belushi was great.
That's true.
But I don't know. He's not on
You kept it to 10. That's
I did.
That's a strong decision.
That was a very tough decision.
Yes. I was not that tough, and I have several
there we go.
honorable mentions, which I will run through before I do my 10 through 2.
Okay.
I gave honorable mentions to Alec Baldwin, Jimmy Fallon, Mike Myers, Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, Dan Aykroyd, Jim Carrey, Bill Murray, and Fred Armisen. That's my honorable mentions list.
Yeah.
Armisen's pretty good. He's been on there forever.
Yep.
Number 10 on my list, John Mulaney. Dude's hilarious.
He is funny.
His stand-up is very funny. Number 9, Norm Macdonald.
Mulaney did a lot of writing for them.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, so 9 is Norm as well. Number 8, I had Andy Samberg / The Lonely Island.
Yes.
Since they were kind of a thing.
It's my dick in a box.
Threw it on the ground.
That is a great one. I love it.
Welcome to the real world, jackass. Yes. Number 7, Adam Sandler and Company, since he kind of always had his boys with him.
Yeah.
Number 6, Will Ferrell. Number 5, Eddie Murphy. Tied for 3rd place.
Okay.
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
Gotta put them together.
Just makes sense. And number 2 on my list, of course, Steve Martin.
He was
the
so
G.
great. He's so great.
The absolute G.
He's genuinely just a funny guy, and sometimes accidentally.
Yeah.
He's just so funny, and his movies are always really great. And but his SNL skits are just
top notch.
Top notch. And now I'm realizing, before I give my number 1,
yes,
that I've left someone out. And no,
Ruh-roh.
It's not John Belushi.
Is the one you left out Perchance my number one.
I'm certain of it. I'm certain of it. Because I happen to think this guy is one of the funniest people. I like his style of humor because it is very unique. He was also so influential in getting this show off the ground.
Very true.
And seeing as there are no rules.
That's also true.
And I kind of caught it.
You do tied for first place.
And I think that's a great spot for him. So I am going to do it, and I know this is probably your number one. But we are going to say a tie between Will Ferrell and Chevy Chase.
Oh, interesting. Oh, never mind. I just saw your list. My number one was different, but that is good. That's a good catch. Will Ferrell and Chevy Chase. Mm-hmm. My number one was your number 3, Chris Farley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just had the numbers mixed up. That's my mistake.
No, that's okay. I thought for sure because in our family, we hold Mr. Chase in high regard.
Good old Irwin Fletcher.
Irwin Fletcher, love the Fletch movies. It's basically the vacation movies. So many other great stuff that he does. He's great. Will Ferrell, oh my God. I mean, just the one I just told where he came back and he did that. And it's like you see that. And Will's an older guy now, you know? And not, once again, not to be ageist, but as comedians age, I don't want to say they become less funny, but their delivery changes.
Sure.
I think, and that just comes with age. Now, George Carlin is someone that managed to escape that for whatever reason. He was still an old ass dude, and he's still funny as hell.
Right.
And topical, and just would slam anyone. But when it comes to Will, and that style of humor, and he did that skit, I'm like, oh my God, that is still like so freaking funny. And the fact he probably just sat in that writing room and is like, oh, we're doing Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. But Farley, let's talk Farley.
Farley, the G. The OG.
Matt Foley.
Yep.
I'm Matt Foley, your motivational speaker.
Those bits are so hilarious.
Yep. Live in a van down by the river. Yeah, the bits.
They're so funny.
The bits are great. They're so good. And once again, another guy we missed was David Spade, who once again, just like we did with Amy and Tina or Mike and Dana, you can put those two together.
True. That's true. Yeah, I guess that would be part of the And Company with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
So that's kind of part of his entourage.
It is. Yeah, Schneider and Spade and Chris Rock and all those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But that's a good list.
It is a good list. Tough to narrow down. I did go a little heavy on the honorable mentions, but no rules. So I'm fine.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Well done. Well done. Very good list. Once again, hit us up on socials if you have a list of your own or be like, oh my God, you guys missed that guy or this guy. I'm sure we did. At any rate, like Garrett Morris, that's another guy I could have put. Garrett was hilarious. I loved him. Anyway, we're on to review preview. Review movie, preview movie. Oh my God, I went and saw one. Holy cow, it's been like forever. I went and saw the new Captain America movie, Captain America Brave New World. Sam Wilson, a.k.a. Captain America, played by Anthony Mackie, finds himself in the middle of an international incident after meeting with President Thaddeus Ross, played by Harrison Ford. He must soon discover the reason behind a nefarious global plot involving newly discovered adamantium. Interesting. Before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. The film also stars Danny Ramirez as the new Falcon, Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley, Shira Haas as security advisor Ruth Bot-Saraf, Giancarlo Esposito as Sidewinder, and Tim Blake Nelson as Samuel Stearns. The movie's fun. It's action-packed. Movie does not always flow smoothly, and I still fail to see the connection to this multiverse thing that they've been working on with like Loki and Doctor Strange and Deadpool. But it was entertaining. I enjoyed everything they did with Ross. I thought that was some good stuff. A couple of nice cameos in there too, which was good. And they draw a connection to that very first Hulk movie, which is technically the first movie in all of those.
Right. Sure.
It just was with Edward Norton, and
Right.
they didn't sign him back up. But at any rate, it was good. I give the movie 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a fair score.
Pretty strong, yeah.
It's definitely strong. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more connection to this multiverse, even if it's just kind of the end of the movie. You know, they just kind of these vagues, oh, you don't see what's coming or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay.
Right.
It's like, how many movies are we into this new phase? Like, what's coming? Why don't you tell us what's coming? So it would have been nice to have some sort of connection there.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see how that goes, and they've hinted at reforming the Avengers, so we'll see how that goes.
Curious. Could be fun.
Most definitely. Next up is the preview, so coming out soon, a movie called Mickey 17. A disposable employee is sent on a human expedition to colonize the ice world Niflheim. After one iteration dies, a new body is generated with most of the memories still intact. The film stars Robert Pattinson, Steve Yeun, Michael Monroe, Mark Ruffalo, Naomi Ackel, and Holliday Granger. And the release date for that film is March 7th. And it's kind of interesting.
It's the premise seems cool. Really cool.
Well, it does, because it's like each time it kind of just takes cloning to a new level.
Right.
It's just like, okay, when that guy dies, we got the next clone. And it's just like they process all the memories and everything like a computer, and they put it in the head. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So this 17th iteration of Mickey, I'm guessing, is going to be off the chain.
Yeah.
Where maybe Mickey goes, no, I'm not going down there.
I don't think I want to.
I like me. I like being number 17.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to stop there.
Can you blame Mickey?
No, you cannot.
I don't think so. We'll find out.
We will. It looks really trippy. So I'm excited by that.
Yeah.
And before we hit our break, there was the passing of legend Gene Hackman. And that guy has been in more damn movies from the 60s all the way to the early 2000s. So many great movies.
That's a career right there, man.
And for some of you older folks, boomers and Gen Xers, you're going to know who Gene Hackman is. My kids probably know who he is just simply because they're my kids and we're a movie family, and so they probably know him from a few things. I'm going to throw some movies out there, and this isn't even the whole catalog. These are just like some movies that I like that I think are good. If you want to have yourself a Gene Hackman day, it's what you do. Okay. French Connection. Great movie. Poseidon Adventure. The original Superman 1 and 2. A movie called Reds. A basketball movie called Hoosiers. I highly recommend that one. That's a very good movie. A military governmental suspense thriller thingy called No Way Out. It's pretty good. Mississippi Burning. Really good movie. Unforgiven. Maybe the best Western ever made. The Firm. Really good movie. You should check that out. Crimson Tide. Love me some Crimson Tide. Such a good movie. Gene Hackman on the silver screen opposite Denzel Washington. Yes. Every time. Yes.
That's a G move right there of a movie.
And the supporting cast is solid.
Yeah.
Just great all around. Get Shorty. I love Get Shorty. It is one of my favorite films of all time. It's definitely my top 10. It's a comedy. It's got Hackman. It's got Travolta. It's got Dennis Farina. It's got James Woods. It's got is it Uma Thurman? No, Rene Russo is in this one. Uma's in the second one. Just a killer cast. And it's so damn funny.
That's pretty righteous.
Such a funny movie. So I highly recommend. If you've never seen Get Shorty, watch Get Shorty. Absolute Power, another good movie. Gene Hackman, Clint Eastwood. Yeah, that says it all. Laura Linney's in it too. Enemy of the State. That is with Will Smith. That is also a very good movie. And it has a lot to do with like the NSA and like the government maybe just knowing a little bit too much.
Interesting.
And Will Smith gets some information that could complicate things for the government, and so they are after him. And it's very good. And I love Gene Hackman's role in this. Is this down and out former CIA guy that just wants to be left the hell alone.
Right.
and he gets wrapped up in this whole thing. But it's so good. The Replacements, football movie. Keanu Reeves is the quarterback. Gene Hackman's the coach. As a movie, it's silly. It's not going to win any awards, but it's one of those cult comedy classics for sure, and it's really good. And The Royal Tenenbaums, and that one is really good too. Actually, Bill Murray was on a talk show today, and he was talking because he was in the movie with him, and he was talking about him and his whole process and that whole thing. So
that's neat.
Yeah, it was cool. It was definitely cool. And we almost went to break, but we do have While You Were Sleeping. Now,
so true.
While You Were Sleeping is a segment created by this guy over here, Aiden Maloney. Basically, it could be gaming, TV, movies, could be YouTube, other podcasting content, could be anything that maybe kind of flew under the radar. Like we all missed it. And Aiden finds it and goes, not anymore. I'm bringing it back. So, what did you find?
Okay, so, as I've been mentioning, Jordan and I have been watching a lot of horror movies.
Yes.
Pretty much since Halloween 2024. And we watched Hereditary, which that movie is nuts. Crazy.
It's crazy. And the ending.
Real crazy.
The ending, don't even get me started on that ending. I will fight anyone on that ending.
Horror movie endings are tough.
It makes or breaks the whole damn thing.
That's true. That is very true. But we watched Hereditary, and then the next day, we watched this one called Sumala. Not one I had heard of previously, but Jordan had heard about it somehow, and we sat down and watched it, and I really enjoyed it. It's disturbing, it's creepy and weird, and it makes you feel a certain way. It's like you don't want to root for the bad guy, but you maybe kind of rooting for the bad guy. Mm-hmm. It's good. And I looked it up afterwards, and it wasn't rated very highly. I was like, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why. But it's based on an urban legend. The movie, I believe, is out of Indonesia. And it's based on an urban legend out there, or a myth or something like that. But yeah, it's Sumala, a name feared by people in a village in the Semarang Regency. From the past until now, no one dares to go out when night falls because Sumala will come to kill, is kind of the premise, or the backstory of this Sumala figure. But the movie kind of goes over, it's I don't know if it's the story, but it's a story of the creation of this character, Sumala. So, unbeknownst to her husband Sojuman, the wife Sulastri, I'm sorry if these pronunciations are bad, Sulastri made a pact with the devil so that she could have children. She was infertile, I believe. She gave birth to twins, Kamala, who survived, and Sumala, who died. Or rather, maybe was killed, but you'll have to watch and find that part out. Kamala grew up to be a kind child, but both physically and mentally disabled. She found herself receiving bad treatment from the people around her. Till one day, Sumala comes back from the world of the dead to make a reckoning with those who had hurt the girl who lived.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the basic summary of the plot, but it's just, I don't know, it's not like gory, but it's fairly gory, and it's suspenseful. Like I said, disturbing, but it's good. And I don't know why it got panned so heavily. Mm-hmm. So I would say for anyone that hasn't heard of it, or maybe didn't give a first watch a fair shot, I would say give it another.
Give it another.
Yeah. I quite enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're back to finish up with the World of Weird News and our beer of the week. Hey, everybody, we're back. And it is time for the world of weird news. Ah, that hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt so much.
We'll stretch on that one.
The things I do for you guys. I love you. Really, I do. Oh, my God, the pain. Anyway, we're here. We're making it. We're making it through. See, as a reason, I still have that AI chick doing my other show.
Right.
Just not ready for prime time yet. But, we'll play. See, I'm a Gen Xer. So we're largely the rub dirt on it generation. I've been rubbing dirt on things for a long time, and it hurts. Everything hurts. Don't rub dirt on it. Take care of it.
Yeah.
At any rate, this is the World of Weird News. We scour the globe for crazy, weird news stories, and we always do a pretty good job of it. And I have a story in America from Pennsylvania.
Ooh, Pennsylvania.
And it is Johnstown Flood Museum closed because of flooding. How about that?
No.
How about that? Who knew?
The prophecy.
Indeed. A Pennsylvania museum dedicated to remembering the effects of a 19th century flood is temporarily closed because of an interior water leak. A Pennsylvania museum dedicated to remembering the effects of a 19th century flood is temporarily closed because of flooding.
That checks out.
The Johnstown Flood Museum in Cambria County announced on Monday that it is temporarily closed to an interior water leak caused by a recent extreme cold. The leak caused water to pour through the museum walls, damaging carpets, drywall, and ceiling tiles in the process. Boy, that was a hell of a leak. Nothing of historic significance was affected by the flooding, and the museum's Facebook post credited museum docent, Nikki Bosley, for discovering the leak before there could have been serious damage. But it has yet to announce a timeline for reopening. The museum is The museum is dedicated to memorializing the Great Johnstown Flood, which occurred on May 31st, 1889. The flood claimed the lives of 2,209 people.
Wow.
And destroyed 1,600 homes. That deserves a museum.
That's a big
Holy
flood.
hell. Wow.
Honestly, why close the museum though? Open the museum. It's like it's an exhibit in itself.
It's like 3D.
Yeah. This is the smell-o-vision of museum exhibits.
Exactly. It's the scratch and sniff, as it were.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. That would have been a good flex.
It's an idea.
It is an idea. Oh my God, what's with all this? What? It's a flood.
It's a flood museum.
It's a flood.
First day.
Get it? What are you, new?
That's funny.
Yeah. So, flood museum closed for flooding.
Good to know nothing of historical significance got borked, but
no doubt.
That makes for a hilarious story.
Oh, no doubt about it. What do you got for us?
Today I've got a story from WSVN 7 News. Florida man deals with snake on windshield a week after the chicken took a ride on the hood of his truck.
Oh, no.
This is out of course, Florida. Florida man got a slithery surprise on his way home from work. Video footage showed a snake on the windshield of a David Harrison's truck. This isn't the first time something like this has happened to him. 1 week prior, Harrison found a chicken on the hood of his truck.
Oh, no.
When asked, quote, "The snake was kind of the craziest one. The chicken was definitely a cooler experience because it was kind of friendly. I hung out with the chicken for about an hour until someone came and rescued him." The chicken was indeed rescued and given a safe home. Unfortunately, we have no word on the well-being of the snake.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing the snake showed up because he's like, hey, I hear there's poultry on your hood.
Right.
That's in my food chain. Where's this chicken at?
I've been told this is the right hood to come to get rescued.
Exactly.
Oh, man. But yeah, couldn't be me. But that story made me think of the one time there was the squirrel in your car when you were on the way to work like a decade and a half ago.
Oh, yeah. He was just chilling right on the seat looking at me like, what up? Freaked me out.
So what's good, Chief?
Yeah, that the squirrel, and I nearly got in a wreck, and I just jumped this curb and went into this parking lot and got out. And I was like, get out of my car, and it took him like a hot minute. And I opened all the doors, and then finally he was like, okay. I'm like, you jerk. But the most recently was the raccoon, which My windows weren't open, but just a few inches. I
Right.
swear. So these dudes must just be able to squirrel in and out of places.
I think they can. Yeah.
And I'm driving, and I'm at the bar with my friends. Luckily, very short ride home, 2 blocks. And so I get in my car. And yes, I'm lazy. I could walk the 2 blocks, but it's winter. Work with me, folks.
Yeah.
So I'm in the car, and I'm doing the whole Detroit lean, right? I'm just kind of leaning back, one arm, whatever. And I'm driving home, and I look to the passenger seat, and there's a raccoon.
Just chilling.
Just chilling. The first thought on my mind, I didn't freak, I didn't do anything. I just looked over at him, and I go, "Sup, raccoon?" What else am I going to do? What else am I going to do? It's like, please don't attack me. Sup, raccoon? So I get to the house, and I turn the engine off, open my door. I get out of my door. I leave my door open.
Smart.
I go upstairs. I grab a beer from the fridge, and I just sit on the front porch waiting for this guy to leave my car. And I'm like, leave, please leave. Drink, please leave. I'm like, come on. He didn't leave the open door. He squirreled his way back out the 3-inch window. I'm like, you idiot.
At least he knew how to get back out. I mean, a fly finds its way into a house and then just bangs against a closed window for 30 minutes until it dies.
Yep.
I've got one. It's not a large being, but it was a much, much larger bug than I was expecting. It was when I was up in Wisconsin, and I was driving, and there was this huge... I didn't notice it until I was like halfway through the drive. It's like a 20-minute drive. I'm like 10 minutes through it. And I just look to my left, like out the driver's window, and on the window is an enormous grasshopper, or what do they call, praying mantis or something?
Yeah.
It's enormous. And I was just like, oh my fucking God. And when I said that out loud, it like looked at me and like leaned back like it was gonna jump, and I was like, nope. Like I rolled down the window, I'm like swatting at it, I'm like, fuck you, go away. It was gonna jump at me just because I called it out. And I was like, you asshole. And I hate insects.
Uh-huh.
They're so nasty.
Yeah, they're gross. They're totally gross. Anyway, that concludes that segment, and we are on to the final segment, our beer review.
The official beer review brought to you by the Mark Mo Show.
That's right. And I am definitely awaiting this. It looks wonderful. It's got a lovely color.
Yes, it is a beautiful brewski. We have for you today a local brewer, Three Floyds. This is out of Munster, Indiana. So if you're familiar with the region, you know it's just over in Lake County a bit a ways, near the Illinois border. If you're not from the region, it's Chicagoland.
Oh, yeah.
That's good enough. But Three Floyds Brewing, this is something called, not sponsored, I swear, there's something called Gumball Head is the name of the beer.
Aha.
It is a wheat beer, an American wheat ale, and we're going to try it out. So it's essentially an Americanized version of like a Hefeweizen, right?
Okay.
Which is kind of like a citrusy wheat beer kind of thing. So this is 5.6 ABV, 35 IBUs, for all of you out there that keep track. And we're going to give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 5 today.
That sounds fantastic.
Because that's just what we do. So if you're enjoying a brewski at home, let us know what you're drinking and if you enjoy it.
Kind of this cloudy golden color.
Slightly cloudy, very golden. Slancha.
Cheers.
Very enjoyable.
It is very enjoyable.
On the lighter side.
Definitely lighter.
Lighter, but still like full flavored, you know?
Agreed.
Doesn't feel like it's lacking anything.
Mm-hmm.
Slight citrus.
I do pick up those hints as well.
Light on the nose. Very tasty.
It is very tasty. I enjoy it very much.
I think I give that a 3.5.
A 3.5,
A
huh?
3.5 out of 5. Very good.
I dig that. That's, I'm going to go 3.75.
Very good.
3.75. I would consider it smooth and light-bodied.
That checks out.
for certain. But it is enjoyable, and it is Three Floyds Brewing, and that is the local brewer here in Northwest Indiana.
Very true, yes.
For those that are interested.
Yeah, we're not sponsored, but we do give shout-outs to local businesses here.
Absolutely, I agree. And that just about wraps it up. Aiden, anything you want to tell these fine folks?
Just take it easy out there. Be chill. Have fun. Don't take life too seriously because, it's too short to do that.
You don't get out alive.
Exactly. It's a very good point.
You don't get out
alive.
alive.
Life has a 100% mortality rate, so take time to enjoy yourself.
Absolutely, 100%. And make sure you check out his content at AK219. Anything you want to say about that?
Definitely. It's a good old grand old time, a romp and a rave. Most recently, a ramp. We decided as well.
Okay.
Because we jumped to conclusions at accelerated speeds.
Excellent.
So, yeah, it's fantastic. AK219, check out my channel, Aiden spelled the right way, on YouTube as well.
Of course.
So, yeah, thank you for all the support. We hope you guys are enjoying all these episodes. Got some listeners, 17-plus countries around the world. Very exciting stuff.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
That is awesome, and we appreciate each and every one of you. And one more time, I want to thank Aiden for all of his work on this podcast, on the show, and behind the scenes doing the production. And, of course, everything he does on AK219 is fantastic. So definitely look him up, give him a like and a subscribe. I want to thank other people that support us, like Jatonia Creek Grill, Smoketown Blues Barbecue, Valpo Family YMCA, Curry Ford of Valpo, Curry Buick GMC, Simcoe Signs, Life Centers of Valpo, and the Entertainer Magazine. I want to thank everybody for listening in, and please like and subscribe. See you next time.
See ya.